All right, Shalom. I'm going to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakak, Wadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops, a great millstone. I'm your brother, Rabbi Nab, coming out with a lesson, Lord's will. This is edifying to the Lord's elect. I found this on X.com. It says Netanyahu calls social media new battlefield against anti-Semitism. Last updated 5 hours ago. I'm going to read the caption. It says, at the second international conference on combating anti-Semitism, hosted by Israel's Diaspora Affairs Minister Amichai Chikli, Netanyahu declared social media the main arena for this ancient hatred, now surging globally with U.S. incidents up over 300%, according to the Anti-Defamation League. He linked it to alliances between radical Islam and anti-Western progressives, urging young Jews to stand up against campus intimidation and leaders everywhere to reject equivocation. U.S. Senator Ted Cruz warned via video of anti-Semitic elements on the right gaining ground among youth, while online responses ranged from praise for the resolve to fears of censorship over Netanyahu's talk of weapons. Let's see if we can get a clip of him saying it. Mario Newfall says, Netanyahu, we will win the social media battle. Social media is the new battlefield. This is where we must counter with our own weapons. We're late in the game, but we will win this battle too because we are developing the means to fight this. Let's see.
And of course, it's most prevalent in the social media. This is the new battlefield. And this is where we must counter with our own weapons. We're late in the game, but we will win this battle too, as we won on the battlefield, because we are developing the means to fight this. Not with cavalry against F-35s, with F-40s against F-35s. This is the next thing. And of course,
So, of course, he only gives you a 29-second clip. I can only find 29 seconds. You know, so... You know, it's hard. I can't. This is all they're giving me. Hold on, this is a minute and 12 seconds.
Ideology. And the ideology, it's people with a focused ideology. And the ideology is to destroy the West. And for this purpose, they've made common cause with the most ultra anti-Western progressives, and they have united. And they supposedly should disagree on everything, but they don't, because they want to destroy the West as we don't. And they agree on one thing. What is the thing that they agree on? World War Jew. To conduct a world war, first against the Jews and against the Jewish state. And for the radical Muslims, they are right, because there would be no West in the Middle East if the Jewish state is eradicated. There would be no obstacle for the further invasion of Europe if the Jewish state doesn't exist. And it also appeals to their internal hatred of the Jews, which has common roots with anti-Semitism over the centuries.
Oh no, he's using anti-Semitism. That's the real weapon right there. That's what he's going to use to combat social media, which is probably, whenever they're using that word anti-Semitism, is to use, they're using it for hate speech, not hate speech, they're using it to take away your First Amendment rights. And we know that's the only reason why he wants to do that is because of this word. Okay, he's trying to make a man an offender for a word. He's trying to come up against the prophets. This is what's really going on here. Okay, Isaiah 29 verse 17. Is it not yet a very little while, and Lebanon shall be turned into a fruitful field, and the fruitful field shall be esteemed as a forest? Let's look this up. Let's look this up real quick. Just curious. Give me a remind me what this is talking about. I know the precept's down somewhere, but the meaning is that the Gentile world, which was like a forest uncultivated and full of unfruitful trees, to which wicked men may be compared, should through the preaching of the gospel be mannered, become God's husbandry, and be like a fruitful field, abounding with people and churches, fruitful in grace and good. Isaiah 29:18, and in that day shall the deaf hear the words of the book, and the eyes of the blind shall see out of obscurity and out of darkness. And that's what's happening now. We're being fruitful with this word starting to prosper where the Lord sent it, and now they're trying to combat it. Let's look this up. Bringing you out of darkness. The Lord He told us from the beginning that these things were going to happen. Isaiah 29:18 predicts a future time of spiritual restoration where the deaf, those unable to understand God's word, will hear, and the blind, spiritually ignorant, will see. It promises that divine intervention will turn darkness into light, bringing enlightenment and understanding to the humble. This passage highlights a reversal of spiritual incapacity, and that's what the prophets are doing there. They're feeding you with wisdom and knowledge. Isaiah 29:19, ultimately the elect, building up the elect. And that's why everything is being, these talking points about World War III and all these things is because we're speaking it into existence. We're speaking the words of God. It's how you know this is the gospel. Isaiah 29:19, the meek also shall increase in their joy in the Lord, and the poor among men shall rejoice in the Holy One of Israel. And that's what we're doing right now. The meek are the elect ultimately, but they're increasing. It tells you in 2 Samuel 3:1 that the house of David waxed stronger and stronger, and the house of Saul waxed weaker and weaker. So that's increasing. Okay. As a matter of fact, let me grab this in the book of Proverbs, chapter 4. I think it's 16. No, it's 18. Proverbs 4:18. But the path of the just is as the shining light that shineth more and more unto the perfect day. So the perfect day is when we're changed. I'm thinking of a precept where it increase. Maybe is it Job 17? Increase. So Amalek don't want this word going out. 1 Thessalonians 4:10, and indeed ye do it toward all the brethren which are in all Macedonia, but we beseech you, brethren, that ye increase more and more. Let's look this up. It commends the Thessalonian believers for showing brotherly love to all Christians throughout Macedonia, while urging them to increase more and more in this love. Paul praises their existing actions, but encourages continuous growing dedication to serving one another in love. So you're supposed to increase more and more, especially in this grace period. Psalms 115:14. The Lord shall increase you more and more, you and your children. So this is the time where we should be increasing. Let's look this up. Is a priestly blessing promising that God will multiply blessings, prosperity, and spiritual growth for faithful believers and their descendants. It serves as an assurance of God's favor, fostering confidence and trust. And that's why we're increased more and more in trusting and believing Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua, Ezekiel 36:30. And I will multiply the fruit of the tree and the increase of the field, that ye shall receive no more reproach of famine among the heathen. No, that's not look for 2 Timothy 2:16. But shun profane and vain babblings, for they will increase unto more ungodliness. So it's pretty much just those two precepts. So that's what we're doing. Long story short, we're increasing. Okay, we're increasing our joy in the Lord Yahweh. Okay, not this false god Esau worships. And the poor among the men shall rejoice in the Holy One of Israel, and the poor among the men of Israel. Okay, not just poor people. Okay, the poor is a code word for Israel. Just like the CEO of Campbell Soup, he said, this is for the poor people. That's code word for you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. 3D printed meats and shit like that. Because we going to eat our food defiled among the heathen. Isaiah 29:20, for the terrible one is brought to naught, which is Esau, and the scorner is consumed, and all that watch for iniquity are cut off. Let's look this up. Because this is an important precept to understand as much as we can, because it's showing you the times before the increasing of the people to the point where he's going to combat it. Isaiah 29:20 promises that God will bring swift judgment upon the ruthless mockers and those who actively plot evil, which are Edomites, 2/3 of the nation of Israel. And it signifies the end of oppression, where tyrants and wicked influencers will be destroyed or cut off, restoring justice and protecting the humble/meek in the society. So cut off means getting put to death. All right. So iniquity is going to be cut off. We're getting to that point where Esau is being cut off, and he's the terrible one is brought to naught because this word's going out. So everything he does is a shameful thing. The words that he uses, we know that it's like we're in his head now. We mastered the so-called white man. So we see everything. You put on his glasses, you see exactly what he's doing. We know he can't tell the truth, so he speaks a lie all the time. So you just reverse what he says. Then you can kind of get the truth of what's going on. It's like impossible to tell the truth. Isaiah 29:21, that make a man an offender for words. That's where this anti-Semitic bullshit's coming in. Because anti means against, and Semitic means you're from the line Hashem. He used Semitic, but it's really Shemitic. Okay, and there's multiple nations. The Muslim people he's calling anti-Semitic are actually from descendants of Shem. Ishmael was a descendant of Abraham. But you don't hear the Ishmaelites using this word as much as the so-called white man does. And lay a snare for him that reproveth in the gate. So this is the point where it comes to us. We're the ones who are at the gate reproving. What's that? Amos. I think it's 5. And they hate him that reproveth in the gate. I forgot what that precept's at. It's somewhere in Amos. They hate him who reproves in the gate. Amos 5:10. They hate him that rebuketh in the gate, and they abhor him that speaketh uprightly. Let's look this up. So that's going to the prophets. From the Bible describes social injustice in Israel, where people hate the one who upholds justice in court and detest the one who tells the truth, which are the Israelites, the prophets, while oppressing the poor, taking bribes, and adding taxes on grain, leading to God's warning of impending judgment, wailing and loss despite their pleas for the Lord, as true justice and seeking good are absent. So that's what it's pretty much talking about. Let's see. Amos 5:10 condemns a corrupt society that despises truth, and that's America, integrity, and justice. Specifically, it highlights how wealthy, powerful elites hated and abhorred anyone likely prophets or honest judges who exposed their wicked, fraudulent actions in the gate, which was the center of legal and social administration. So that's who you know who it's like the true judges against the false judges. Okay? They're showing through the scriptures, yeah, you breaking all of these laws, man. And they still upholding the law, even in a lawless society. So he won't get rid of those type of people. So he's laying a snare, which is a trap for him that reproveth from the gate, which is making a man an offender for a word. Oh, well, this is his weapon for social media battlefield. Oh, this is anti-Semitic. Everything's fucking anti-Semitic. We're actually Shemites. This is just witchcraft. It's evil. It's lies. It's Revelation 12 and 10. Let's grab that. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now has come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our God and the power of his anointed. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our God day and night. So he's trying to accuse us, man. Oh, well, he's anti-Semitic. Nigga, we're telling you we're the real Israelites and you're a fake. You're fake. Okay? He don't like that. Revelation 2 verse 9, and I know that works in tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich, and I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. Revelation 3 and 9, behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee. So, there you go. And we're going to suffer these things, but who cares what this devil does at this point, man? You should be getting built up to the point, man, you ready to lose all your limbs to serve the Lord, man. You should be ready to lose your head, your neck, whatever. Because then there's nothing this devil can do to you that he ain't going to get 100 times worse when we get in the kingdom. All right? Revelation 2 and 10, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. But be thou faithful unto death, and I'll give thee a crown of life. So it is what it is. The Lord told you what you're supposed to do, and that's what we're going to do. He that have an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. So he ain't talking to everybody. He that overcometh shall not be heard of the second death. So second death is thermonuclear destruction. All right. Isaiah 29 and 21, and again, that make a man an offender for a word, anti-Semitism, anti-Semitic, right? And lay a snare for him that reproveth in the gate, talking about the prophets. He's trying to set traps for them by using this word online, and turn aside the just for a thing and not. So he's trying to turn the just to a thing and not. Isaiah 29:21 condemns those who manipulate the legal system to oppress others, specifically highlighting people who twist words to make others appear guilty, lay traps for those defending the innocent, and use false testimony to not deny justice. It acts as a prophecy against corrupt, dishonest people who will be removed, allowing the humble to rejoice in God. That's right. So there's really nothing this devil can do, man. He gonna attempt, and hey, some of us are gonna be numbered with the transgressors, but at the end of the day, this is the end of his kingdom. Isaiah 29 verse 22. And who gives a fuck? Who wants to work for this nigga anyways? Let him get his robots and shit. All that shit's gonna fail. He gonna destroy himself anyways. Okay, the sword's gonna fall upon him, and it is what it is. But the Lord's fighting for us every single day. Because at any moment he could have did all of this shit. That he been talking this same shit for a long time. But it's gonna get to the point these prophecies need to be fulfilled. Isaiah 29:22. Therefore thus saith the Lord, who redeemed Abraham concerning the house of Jacob. Jacob shall not now be ashamed, neither shall his face now wax pale. So we're not gonna be confounded because we're standing on the Lord. Okay, we're not gonna wax pale, meaning we're not gonna lose faith in the Lord. Have no hope. All right, let's look this up. Isaiah 29:22 is a promise of restoration and renewed dignity for the house of Jacob, Israel, from God, who is identified as the one who redeemed Abraham. It describes that the people will no longer be ashamed, nor will their faces turn pale with fear or humiliation, reversing a time of previous distress, right? Previously, we were waxing pale. We were in slavery. We was getting beat up. Esau just seemed to just run amok. We were in complete fear against this nigga. But the Lord's reversing all of that. All right. So now we're being more confident instead of being waxing pale. Isaiah 29:23. But when he seeth his children, the work of my hands in the midst of him, they shall sanctify my name and sanctify the Holy One of Jacob, and shall fear the God of Israel. So instead of fearing, being ashamed of Esau, we're fearing the God of Israel. Like it tells you in the book of Isaiah 10:20. Isaiah 10, verse 20. And it shall come to pass in that day that the remnant of Israel and such as are escaped of the house of Jacob shall no more again stay upon him that smote them, but shall stay upon the Lord Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, the Holy One of Israel in truth. So there you go. That's the Holy One of Jacob. All right. And shall fear the God of Israel. Isaiah 29 and 24. They also that erred in spirit shall come to understanding, and they that murmured shall learn doctrine. That's y'all who don't, Israelites waking up. You're going to learn the doctrine. That's why this word is going out. But eventually, according to Amos 9 and 11, in that day, no, Salakia. Amos, maybe I'm 8 and 11. Yeah, Amos 8 and 11. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord Yahweh, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of the Lord. So he gonna cut this word out via using anti-Semitic rhetoric and propaganda in order to shut down channels and things like that. So there ain't gonna be no talking anymore. You're gonna get struck for misinformation. It's just a disinformation campaign. He gonna go up against the truth, but that's another sign that we're getting closer to the end. The people who have this word, they're sealed. Okay, the elect are sealed. Once the word's done, because the word's for the elect, that's it. So that's the good thing that he's talking this shit. That means the elect are being sealed. So this is all prophecy. We everything's right on track. Everything's just fine. So let him run his campaign. Let him get the battlefield going. You know, that's good that way he's doing. He's doing a good job. Shout out to Dumbo, the elephant. Amos 8 and 12. And they shall wander from sea to sea, and from the north even to the east. They shall run to and fro to seek the word of the Lord, and shall not find it. So you ain't gonna be able to see the videos anymore. It's all that work that brothers have done. All that's ain't gonna be on the internet anymore. I'm cut out. It ain't gonna be nobody on the streets preaching either. It might be, depending on, I don't know every detail, but eventually, it's not going to be, ain't more teaching. There's no more ministry. We're going to be going through Jacob's trouble. All right? And we're going to be like pilgrims in the earth. Amos 8 and verse 13. In that day shall their fair virgins and young men faint for thirst. Thirst, the water, is a spiritual meaning for this word. This word is likened unto water. Okay, so you're going to faint. You're going to give up. You're not sustained. You ain't gonna be filled. Your cup ain't gonna be full. You're gonna run out of faith. And you're gonna give up. You're gonna go take the MOTB or get destroyed, or you're just not gonna. The Lord's not gonna sustain you anymore. They that swear by the sin of Samaria, Amos 8 and 14, and say, Thy God, O Dan, liveth, and the manner of Beersheba liveth, even they shall fall and never rise up again. So it sounds like, it's clearly talking about the northern kingdom, but let's look into it. Amos 8 verse 14 addresses the idolatry and misplaced loyalties of Israel. Right, but this applies to you people here today. You Americans. The sin of Samaria refers to the worship of false gods. That's what y'all do. In the capital of the northern kingdom, likely including the golden calf set up by King Jeroboam and Dan and Bethel in 1 Kings 12 and 28 and 30, yeah. Now y'all got all different types of idols now. That was the sin of Jeroboam, but y'all worship way more different gods now. Y'all worship money. You worship yourself. You worship the image of the beast. What's this? A suspect killed by officers allegedly stabbed man and pet dog after learning victim was Christian. Yeah, I wanted to see what this was talking about.
Now, a suspect is dead after an officer-involved shooting in Parkland. Authorities say multiple Pierce County deputies shot that suspect, who they say was armed with several knives and had allegedly stabbed a victim and his dog just hours earlier. Thanks for joining us. I'm Michelle Esteban. That shooting happened just before 9 this morning here in the 800 block of 112th Street South. Police say this is only a few blocks from where the stabbing happened. KOMO's Claire Weber joins me now live from Pierce County with how this all went down. Claire.
Michelle, this scene behind me is where deputies finally found that suspect who ran behind one of these houses on 112th Street. But before that, a man called 911 around 6:30 a.m. to report that he and his dog had been stabbed by the suspect at a corner store just up the street. The stabbing happened at the SS.
That's the Spirit 630, a Christian, man. 36. It's always 36. Look at this SS quick stop, right? What the hell is going on? This is evil, man.
Quick Stop grocery store. Pierce County deputies say the victim told officers that the suspect asked what religion he was, and when he
You see? Evil, man.
Said he was a Christian, the suspect reportedly stabbed him and his dog. Both were taken to hospitals in serious condition, and
He even got the dog.
deputies say the dog went into emergency surgery. Deputies were searching for the suspect then for more than 2 hours after he ran from the stabbing scene. He was spotted by deputies around 8:40 a.m. who made contact with the suspect in a house's backyard. Armed with multiple knives, officers say the suspect was resisting arrest and made movements toward deputies. He was then shot by multiple deputies. Police say he was later pronounced dead at a nearby hospital. Now the Pierce County Force Investigation team is handling the scene.
To collect evidence, and then they'll do interviews. If there's any witnesses, they'll talk to people that live here in the area to find out if they know anything, if they heard anything, if they saw anything.
Now, neighbors tell us they heard anywhere between 3 and 5 gunshots this morning. People also say violence and crime in this area of Parkland has been on the rise, with frequent shootings, reckless driving, and loitering, driving some neighbors to want to move. Pierce County Fit is still investigating if the suspect had any connection to this area or the house that he ran behind. No deputies were injured in this situation, and we're still waiting for more updates on, of course, the stabbing victim and that dog. For now, live in Parkland, Claire Weber, KOMO News.
And that's the times. You gotta watch out, man. You serving some false god and you think everything gonna be all right. That's not the case, man. They didn't give too much details about the suspect and the victim, but if somebody come up asking you what your religion is and all that, man, that's the suspect, man. And the suspect is hell. Let me grab this in the book of Ephesians, chapter 5. And 14, wherefore he saith, awake thou that sleepest, and arise from the dead, and Hamashiach shall give thee light. So you gotta wake up. You gotta wake up, man. Times that we live in, you walking your dog and somebody asking you about what religion you are. You got to be on your toes nowadays, man. See then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise. So you got to know the times that you're in and use wisdom to navigate the times that you're in. You might have to be on a much higher alert when it comes to dealing with people in the mental state of people. He's walking around with seven knives. Okay. He's bugged out, and the Christians bugged out too. Everyone's bugged out. The dog even got it. He poked the dog too. Like, it's clearly, that's a spirit. Redeeming the time because the days are evil. It's an evil time that we're in, man. Wherefore be ye not unwise, but understanding what the will of the Lord is. And be not drunk with wine wherein is excess, but be filled with the Spirit. So wine is going into these different philosophies that are out here. You want to be filled with the Spirit, not just any spirit, the Spirit of Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai. Speaking to yourselves in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs, singing and making melody in your heart to the Lord. So it's like we're singing a song. And that song is the truth. And if you don't understand the truth, then you got the wrong vibration, you wrong rhythm. There's a certain rhythm to this word that, you Christians don't have it. It's the wrong gospel. Giving thanks always for all things unto God and the Father in the name of our Lord Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. You still calling him Jesus Christ when the letter J was created in 1524 by Giorgio Trissino. So you ain't bringing out any truth upon the name of the Lord. Submitting yourselves one to another in the fear of God. You don't fear the Lord because you don't keep his commandments. So the Lord ain't working with you. Let me grab this in the book of Matthew 24. Matthew 24 in verse number Matthew 24 be ready for his coming. Control F. I can't find the precept I'm looking for. Yeah, Matthew 24:14. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then the end. And then shall the end come. Okay, so this is why the end is coming now, because the right doctrine is out here, and it's not what y'all been. God loves everybody and all of that. That ain't the doctrine. Okay, so now that you're being confounded, the Lord's taking away. There ain't no hedge for you. Those days are over. John 15:22. It says, if I had not come and spoken unto them, they had not had sin, but now they have no cloak for their sin. So you Christians, you break the laws, and the gospel's been preached. So you can't be ignorant anymore. We all were Christians. We came up out of it, But you got that weird, you walking a dog, you probably all you can't discern. And you lucky the Lord ain't put you to death. Through the Spirit, that could have been a Jake. Okay. I want to go somewhere, but let's keep moving. The points made. This is legal questions loom after Minneapolis ICE shootings. Yeah, they're trying to figure out if you can even lock these dudes
legally.
up. Let me see it. Yeah, he's talking about it.
ICE agents are allowed to use force, but that has to be a reasonable degree of force. And the same use of force laws apply to ICE officers as they apply to any federal law enforcement officers. For example, deadly force, such as firing a gun, may only be used when it is in response to an imminent threat of deadly force used by someone else. So, broadly speaking, ICE officers do have legal authority to use force.
Nigga's not even resisting. He's trying to spray some shit directly in his eye. Just, these people are out of their minds, man. But that's good. It's good that they're doing all of this shit, man. Because, listen, you people eat the same shit we eat. Same carcinogens are in your food. You gonna get plagued with all types of shit. You ain't the only. It's about to get crazy out here, man. The Lord don't give a fuck if you got a badge and a gun and you work for the duck. The Lord don't. He's no respecter of persons. When it comes to the nation, you see what he does to his own people. What the hell's gonna happen to you, heathen, man? You heathen are done. So have fun. At least he wasn't. I'm glad that he wasn't crying and screaming like some of you stupid ass. Jesus, screaming for the. It's like dude's just in there. They won't even let him out the car. Takes 3 people. They all in the car with him. Probably doing all types of shit to him. Oh, he just died on his own. And this is what he's talking about.
force when conducting arrests, but are still limited by the requirement that that force be reasonable and proportionate.
That didn't look reasonable and proportionate. 3 people in the car holding up some guy that pretty much looks like I could have handled him by myself. You know, hey, get out the car. Could have pulled him out. They don't want to do that. Okay, they got a perpetual hatred, and they're real base men. They don't belong in no position of authority, any badge and shit like that. They the ones who need handcuffs and shackles on their feet. They need to be in prison. That whole race needs to be locked up, more so than so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American. But yet, this place is backwards. So the criminal, the crook, is running around with badges, locking everybody up. Now he got immunity too. So it's all from the Lord at the end of the day. The Lord's gonna get who he dislike, and he gonna do your ass dirty. You don't want to repent? All right, that grace period is coming to an end. All right, you want to be wicked and evil, you gonna get that. The wages of sin is death.
Federal agents are generally immune from state prosecution for actions taken as part of their official duties. But immunity only applies when an officer's actions were authorized under federal law and were necessary and proper. Victims can sue the federal government for compensation when its employees cause financial or bodily injury in the course of their work. But these claims face limits. Legal experts generally consider the law a weak mechanism for addressing government officials' misconduct.
Of course it is. And you got the duck, he pretty much expunged all these crooks so they could do what they do. So let them enjoy it. Let me read this. This nigga climbed this. This is rock climber Alex Honnold reaches top of Taupai 101 skyscraper without ropes. That's Esau. This is 2 men of people. Okay, this is Esau. Rock climber Alex Honnold. Look at their faces. This is so amazing. I don't think I ever saw Jake do some stupid shit like this. 26 and verse 16. Ye shall not tempt the Lord your God as ye tempted him in Massah. Let's look this up. Ultimately, you tempting the Lord. Let's see. Commands believers not to test or challenge God's faithfulness as Israelites did at Massah by demanding water and questioning his presence. It warns against doubting God's providence, requiring signs, or forcing his hand due to lack of trust. So, you know, when you test the Lord, man, you thinking like, you know, the Lord allowed him to get up there. The Lord didn't have to. He probably wants his ass to be. He might get him on another thing. Because you get more and more proud. Now he's like, oh, shit, if I can do this, I can do something even crazy. I can go climb this other building. Okay. The Lord get your ass. Okay. I'm trying to think. There's some other precepts. Let's see what other precepts is in here. Cross references. Tempt the Lord your God, Matthew 4:7. Yahweh shall said unto him, it is written again, thou shalt not tempt the Lord thy God. And that's what Esau does, tempting the Lord. Let's look at that word tempt, as a matter of fact. Let's go to the interlinear. NASA. Adventure. Prove, tempt, essay, put to the proof or test. Okay. To try to prove anyone. To try to attempt, make a trial, to venture. Can one attempt a word with thee, will thou take it ill? Let's look at this word adventure. It says adventure in Deuteronomy 28, verse 56, but it doesn't pertain to the context in which this word's being used. Prove or tempt. That's what I'm seeing in essay. But I want to look up the word adventure. Let's see what it says. Adventure is a novel, thrilling, and often risky undertaking that pushes personal boundaries, offering experiences like hiking, scuba diving, or exploring new unknown places. It boosts self-confidence, fosters open-mindedness, and provides intense psychological arousal, allowing individuals to escape routines and challenge themselves. Common activities include skydiving, rock climbing, and traveling. Now, you can be adventurous, you know, but you pretty much, you tempting the Lord, man. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. Being like a daredevil, it's just a rebellious spirit, you know, because especially if you're an Israelite, man, you're supposed to be. How does that glorify the Lord and what He's doing? He's getting the glory. They looking at Him like, you know, look at me. That's what it is. Look, I'm on top of the building, standing up. It's ultimately pride at like the highest level. That's how Esau is. It tells you in the book of Genesis, 25th chapter, with two manner of people. So Esau showing you he don't fit being an Israelite, man. Not to say that man's not claiming. He could be a Jake for all I know, but he got the characteristics of an Edomite. Genesis 25 and 23, and the Lord Yahweh said unto her, This is Rebecca. 2 nations are in thy womb, Jacob and Esau, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. So we're just 2 different types of people. That's not something that Jake would do, just like eating, because it's just in their spirit to not do that. Okay? So with 2 manner of people, he'll rock climb, he's a hunter. You know, he likes to be wicked as hell. Jake is really like laid back. You can do a lot of shit to Jake, and Jake he'll forgive you for it. He's laid back. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elders shall serve the younger. So we're just 2 different manners of people. But let's see. I wanted to Matthew 4:7. And what other precepts did they give me? I think they gave me Luke 4, which is pretty much the same thing. Yeah, Luke 4:12. And Yahushua answering said unto him, It is said, Thou shalt not tempt the Lord thy God. Okay, so 1 Corinthians 10:9, neither let us tempt Hamashiach, as some of them also tempted and were destroyed of serpents. So don't tempt the Lord, man. Yeah, that's the point. You pretty just don't tempt the Lord, man. And when you look at that word tempt, I think I just looked into it, and one of the words was adventurous. But the word's NASA. Try him. Yeah, don't try the Lord, man. Like he won't kill your ass, he will. Try refers to making an effort, attempting, testing, or examining something, often used in context of investigation, experimentation, or sports. It signifies an attempt or earnest activity to achieve something, commonly used to mean testing the quality of effectiveness of an object or method. So he think he can... you know, that spirit that he has on him. Ultimately, it's pride. We grab this in the book of Jeremiah too. He want to be exalted above, as high as he can get. Because in his mind, that's how he feels. He loves that feeling of everyone looking at him. He looking down at y'all, and y'all like, yeah, you know, you did it. You know, he just, something about it. Maybe I'm in the wrong chapter. I'm thinking about Isaiah 2, maybe. Yeah, Isaiah 2:11. It says, the lofty looks of man shall be humbled, and the haughtiness of men shall be bowed down, and the Lord alone shall be exalted in that day. So that's who needs to be exalted. That needs to be worshipped. That needs to be put up high on a pedestal. For the day of the Lord of hosts shall be upon everyone that is proud and lofty, and upon everyone that is lifted up, and he shall be brought low. So he's going to take you down. Okay? A day of reckoning coming. He don't think it's coming to him, but it will. Psalms 37:13, the Lord shall laugh at him, for he seeth that his day is coming. So your day is coming, Esau. What's this? I did that. What's this? Shocking moment. Man fires bazooka at Philippines mayor in blatant assassination attempt. Let's watch this. Oh shit. He hopped out. Oh, that's him right there. He did it from across the street. Oh. That shit's so hard. forces launched a pursuit operation after the incident, targeting the attackers who fled in a gray or white. We live in some wild times. Flip-flops on with a bazooka. They didn't even catch him. It says authorities are continuing to investigate the identities and motives behind the attack. We gonna have shit like that happening over here. That's crazy. I mean, we already having shit like that. Not with no bazookas, but mad assassination attempts. And that's over a mayor. Let me grab this in a second at just 15. It says you're not going to regard your kings or princes. That's him not regarding his kings or princes. Second at just 15 and 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword in their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So, not regarding your kings and your princes is you not regarding your mayors, your governors, your presidents, your leaders. And then you're gonna fight. You're gonna fight, man. You're gonna lose. Nuclear leak, explosive claims China's top general sold secrets to U.S.
Revolutionary Guard commander says Iran's Revolutionary Guard commander says the country's finger is on the trigger.
Oh, shit.
After Trump said an American armada is headed towards the Mideast. Retired Lieutenant Colonel James Carafano joins us now. I don't mean to be facetious, Colonel, but this Revolutionary Guard commander, do we know where he sleeps at night? Because if he starts attacking America, I don't think Trump will like it.
Yeah, I think that's the one factor that we can consider is the ability of the Iranians to actually conduct a serious conflict with the U.S. is pretty farcical. So I think we take a lot of this as bluster, although we have to worry about protecting the troops. Absolutely true, but there's so many variables here. First of all, it looks like there's at least a couple of days before the United States is in an optimum position till the carrier strike group is in place. Having said that, Donald Trump is famous for liking tactical surprise. So the expectation that we know exactly when he might do something, he's done this before. He likes to surprise us. We don't really know what's going on inside Iran, at least publicly. Are we gaining momentum? Is the regime under greater stress, or have they stabilized? That's a factor they have to consider. We don't know what's going on by the back door, because we do know, and we saw in the case of Venezuela, that the United States actually talked to a lot of people, and they actually had very good situational awareness, and they actually had a pretty high confidence level about what was going to happen in response to their strike. So, and here's the really interesting thing. This is a really practiced American team. This is the Venezuela playbook. So the people that ran that op and all the analysis that went into it, all the risks they were, all the target picking and all the backdoor negotiating, these are the same people doing the
nuclear leak, explosive claims China's top general sold secrets to U.S. He's talking about Iran and the whole. What the hell is this talking about?
Iran. And the situations are also analogous where regionally, America's in a pretty good place. None of the Arab...
I think they named this the wrong thing. Fucking idiots. That's Fox for you, though. They don't know. They're fucking stupid. But let's Google what that's talking about. Was there a Chinese leak for nuclear weapons to the U.S.? I'm seeing videos on it, but yeah. What's this? Let me read this. It's probably not gonna let me see it. China's top general accused of giving nuclear secrets to U.S. Bribery allegations have also been leveled against Jin Zhang Yuxia, whose downfall carries implications for the country's military readiness. It's not gonna let me read it. China's senior most general is accused of leaking information about the country's nuclear weapons program to the U.S. and accepting bribes for official acts, including the promotion of an officer to defense minister, said people familiar with a high-level briefing on the allegations. The briefing, attended on Saturday morning by some of the military's highest-ranking officers, came just before China's Ministry of National Defense made the bombshell announcement of an investigation into Zhenzhang Yuexia. And then I gotta pay to read the rest, and I ain't paying shit. Fuck the Wall Street Journal. I mean, Moab, you probably gonna die. You know, taking bribes. That's what Esau does. It's probably bribes too. Tom Homer said he'll give you 60,000 to be in you know, he'll give you some type of incentive to sit in some form of authority. You know, you pay him 60,000 so you can get some, you know, some type of level. What's this? Isaiah 33:15. He that walketh righteously and speaketh uprightly, he that despiseth the gain of oppressors, that shaketh his hands from holding up bribes, that stoppeth his ears from hearing of blood, and shutteth his eyes from seeing evil. So that's a righteous person. But they're not righteous, these different governments, man. They're showing you all these governments are fucking corrupt. Every single one of them. Because then they're not established on keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. They taking bribes. The law is not being upheld. Job 15:34, for the congregation of hypocrites shall be desolate. A hypocrite is an actor. You can act righteous if you want, but if you ain't keeping the laws, man, you know, all types of wickedness is going on. And fire shall consume the tabernacles of bribery. So you taking bribes, you're going to be consumed by fire. Federal agents' hands bloodied after altercation with Minneapolis protesters. He blowing the trumpet though. You know, it might seem small, but that's just super spiritual, man. They banging on drums. Let me start from the beginning. He's blowing a trumpet. That's how we used to go to war, man. You start banging the drums, hitting the trumpets. That's how we went to war with Jericho. We don't know what the fuck is going on, man. They're making a tumult, man. It's shit about to pop off in this country. I want to see the bloody hand. Where's the man with the bloody hand?
Night right now. No one's sleeping tonight. This is totally insane.
You got it?
any other form of law enforcement.
Looks like this officer's bleeding.
You know you shot some dude with a beanbag at point blank range was just banging a pan. Is that a crime now?
No, it's not the time. Honest to God, no, it's not the time. You're press, sir. You understand? Are you press? Are you press?
Is only press allowed to be on the street?
Are you press?
I'm documenting.
Then back up. Back up now. Back up. Please get back.
Wait until the yo. The crazy part is when shit really hit the fan, man. These niggas gonna fold like some bitches. He's out of his damn mind. They don't tell you why his hands bloody. He's just there. Minnesota National Guard arrived in Minneapolis after federal officer shoots man. That's pretty much it. So I know Greg Bavino he's out of there. So and then Tom Homan's going over there. So and then Tim Waltz got the National Guard coming out. I don't know. It's getting wild over there. But I'm gonna end it here.